our segment, Phone a Friend. We're going to call my good friend Joe Stein and talk to him a little bit about the Indiana-Notre Dame game. He actually went to Indiana, so he might have a little bit of a bias, but we'll see what he says. So let's call him up and get him on the phone.
You think he's going for them Hoosiers?
I think so, probably.
Ooh, that's a rare people there.
Hello,
Mr. Joe Stein.
Isaac Hughes.
You are on the Sports and Gold podcast. Thanks so much for taking our call. You are our phone a friend for today.
First time listener, long time caller. No, it's the other way around. Good to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
Yep. So, hey, we want to talk a little bit about just a massive game for just the state of Indiana in general. So we got number 10 Indiana against number 7 Notre Dame on Friday on ABC at 8. I mean, there's so much to talk about, and I know you're an IU fan. You graduated from IU, did you not?
I did graduate from IU, and I am a huge fan, especially this year, because it's been a rough, 30, 40 years, most of my life, yeah.
Yeah, so analysis. I mean, give us your thoughts on what you think's going to happen. I mean, it's in enemy territory for you guys at Notre Dame. So what do you think's going to kind of get them over the hump?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about the game a lot, mainly because I'm going to the game.
Oh, are you really?
Excited about that. I'll be there, yep.
Oh, my gosh, I didn't know that.
It's a cool place to watch a game if you've ever been to Notre Dame. It's a great stadium. But here are my thoughts. I mean, Notre Dame, tradition, always good in football. I look at them and everybody talks about how weak IU's strength of schedule was. Notre Dame didn't really play a stellar schedule either. Sure. And when you look at the losses, their loss to, Northern Illinois,
yep.
Eastern, whatever Illinois, yep. Compared to IU's only loss at Ohio State. Mm-hmm. And I think about that game, guys, Ohio State, obviously, playing there, one of the toughest places in the country to play.
Yeah.
Indiana went in and basically held them for quite some time. I can't remember when the wheels fell off, but really it all came down to special teams in that game. I mean, they had a punt that was blocked, for a touchdown, and then they also had a punt return for a touchdown. Yeah. And so you take those two plays away, and it's a game.
Yeah.
The other thing that I do know about that game is Indiana was ill prepared for the crowd noise. Yeah. And, that place can get rocking. And it's just really, really hard to play in there when it's that loud. And they just hadn't experienced that before, mainly because, they've only been playing in front of large crowds for, a handful of weeks.
Sure.
Most of those at home, so the crowd is quiet when you're on offense. So it was really their first experience in a very loud and hostile environment. So, Coach of the Year, Signetti, has been piping in insane crowd noise. There are reports in Bloomington, it's just ridiculously loud when they practice.
Okay. That's a great idea.
And so they've really been working on, trying to do silent snaps and that kind of thing. So let's take that element away. I think they're going to be able to handle the hostile environment much better than they did against Ohio State, which again was their first, in my opinion, first time experiencing that. And then when you come down, you look at the teams, I mean, both teams, I would actually give the nod to Indiana as far as offense goes. I think Notre Dame's a little more one-dimensional. They're more of a running attack. I don't think their passing attack is as dynamic as Indiana's. But I don't think Indiana's run game is quite as good as Notre Dame. So, I mean, offensively, it's going to be a battle, and I think it's going to come down to which defense can step up, and then which special teams, which team's special teams is going to play better. I could see it going either way. I'm thinking it's going to be a less than a 5-point game, and it could go either way.
Okay.
Yeah. So my one concern is what I saw in the Ohio State game, and that was they put so much pressure on Rourke that he had like zero time to throw that ball or really develop the play. I mean, what do they do to give him some more time?
Well, so that is another thing, and I forgot to mention that Ohio State. So Indiana didn't change their signals, and Ohio State clued into their signals, and they were actually jumping the snap count.
Oh.
And so they knew when it was going to happen. So if you watched the first, I don't know, 3/4 of the first half of that Ohio State game, I mean, Indiana was moving the ball on offense pretty well, and it was like, right before halftime and the entire second half. You're right. Ohio State was completely in the backfield. Yeah. I think that they're going to correct that. I think that they're going to change it up, and I think they're going to mix up the snap count so that Notre Dame can't clue into that. I mean, Cignetti knows what he's doing. Yeah. He's a smart guy, obviously trained under Saban, and I just look for them to patch up a lot of the holes. But I agree with you. I mean, it was hard to watch as an IU fan. I was certainly hoping that it would be a lot more like the first quarter, but they came loose. But I expect them to patch things up and take control. Caleb, are you an Ohio State fan?
Oh, no, I'm not. My brother
Just
is.
Your brother, right? Just
yeah,
your brother.
He is. I like Michigan.
Oh, boy, how'd that go, living with an Ohio State fan?
It goes great every year for the past 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, especially this year, right?
Oh, yeah. It was tough for Marcus there.
I can imagine.
But yeah, Joe, if you had to pick,
how do you guys see the game shaping up?
Well, I personally think that IU is going to be able to pull it together against Notre Dame. I think that, as you said before, Notre Dame's loss came to Northern Illinois. I think it was a pretty, unexpected loss. And I think that this IU team is a team that they probably aren't going to significantly, fly under the radar with. They're not going to act like they're going in as the underdogs or anything like that. But I think this IU team will come out and punch them in the mouth. And it really just depends on how Notre Dame's going to respond to that.
Yeah.
I think that, there's big implications here. So Notre Dame's going to put up a fight. I agree with you. It's going to be within a 5-point margin. But I have faith that IU is going to pull it out. I mean, this is a big season for them. I think they have the momentum on their side. And losing to a team like Ohio State for them is like that was the number 2 the number 2 team in the country at the time. This Notre Dame team is not going to be that Ohio State team, and we have to put ourselves back in that prime position. So I'm going with IU.
That's a good call. What do you guys think? How do you think the weather's going to play? There's about a 45 or 50% chance of snow up there.
Yeah.
So we looked it up. Yeah. So the degree when the game starts should be around 20 degrees. And then, it's about 30 to 50% chance of snow, and that could obviously fluctuate in the next couple of days. We'll have to see once we get closer. But, I mean, I think IU and Notre Dame are both consistently used to some colder weather. Like if it was a Miami coming up here against Notre Dame, I think that's a different conversation because they're not used to that. But, on my end, I said this a couple podcasts ago, but the first drive of IU against Ohio State, when IU went straight in, they looked phenomenal. They're capable of a great drive, great offense. They're capable of doing it. It's just, can they consistently do it throughout the entire game? And that's my number one concern, is I've seen Notre Dame get to quarterbacks. I've seen their defense keep them in games throughout the entire season. So, I mean, my initial vote, or I guess my pick is Notre Dame, and I think it's strictly because I think they play an Ohio State game to where they put pressure on them, and Rourke just really can't get something developed. But either way, I mean, I'm more of a Notre Dame fan, but I'm excited that Indiana teams are in the playoffs. I think that's fun to watch. I wish they weren't playing each other and they actually maybe had a chance to meet later on down the road. But regardless of who wins, they play Georgia next, which is just going to be a nightmare of a game for either team. They're going to have to play it top-notch category the entire game. I mean, there's just no options otherwise.
Yeah, I don't see either one of these teams making it past the next game.
Yeah.
Georgia, I think, is just too big and strong and fast. Hey, I do have to give our boy Rourke some props, though. I got to give him a little bit of the edge because he's from Canada. And so if somebody's going to, weather the cold, I'm going to take the Canadian to weather the cold a little better and maybe generate a little passing offense, whereas, I'm not so sure Notre Dame's quarterback. Although, their program, being in big games, it's, every year for Notre Dame. So, if I had to say there's one thing I'm nervous about, it's just, the program's inexperience versus a program that just lives in the playoffs. And so, that's a major check in Notre Dame's column. So it's going to be a blast. I'm with you. Who wins? The state of Indiana. That's who wins. Because I think our state's just going to benefit. Yeah. And quite honestly, I think it's going to be a big thing for Indiana in the portal. Yes. And I think some people, if they can put up a good game, this program may be here for a while. Because they'll get some nice transfers, I would think. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be exciting. Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, so my pregame rate, I'm going to rate this game an 8.5 pregame. I'm just kidding. That's back to your movie podcast. Sorry, I was trying to.
But if you do have to give us a specific winner of this game, who do you think it's going to be?
All right, I'm going to go 31-27, the Cream and Crimson.
Hey, there it is. All right.
No, that's awesome. Well, thanks so much for hopping on the call with us for our Phone a Friend segment. I'm with you. I think we're all in the same boat. We just want to watch a really good game on Friday, and we'll see how it develops.
Yep. Well, hey, thanks for thinking of me as a friend. I appreciate that. It's good to be on your show, and hope you guys have a lot of success in the future. I do like watching you guys. You're good chemistry, and I think that it's, tell your friends. These guys are worth listening to. So
we appreciate that.
Absolutely.
All right, sir. Well, I appreciate it.
We'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks, Joe.
Go Hoosiers.
Yep.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, yeah, I think
there you go.
He hit the nail on the head right there. With this is a win for IU or for Indiana football just as a whole, and great insight on IU's practices and stuff like that.
That's really
playing, cool. And then the Canadian quarterback. I didn't know that either. I didn't know Rourke was from Canada. Yeah. So hey, he gives me a little bit more faith in IU and pulling this out.
Yeah. It's also a great point too that when the portal happens, who's not going to want to go play for IU with a coach like that? His goal is not to be fancy; it's to win.
Yep.
And
that's what he does.
That's going to draw a lot of attention.
What did he say? He said, "Google me, I win." Me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the man right there.
Yep. So that leads into college football. We did pretty much just dissect that game. Just reminder: the winner plays Georgia on New Year's Day. Mm-hmm. So either team that wins, I'm excited for them, and I hope they go in and kill Georgia. It's going to be a tough game.
Shock the world.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, but I think they can. Everybody has a shot in the college football bracket.
Yeah, any given Sunday or Saturday too, I guess.
Yeah,
or Fridays.
Yeah, whatever day they're playing. Or New Year's Day, I think it's a Wednesday, so we'll have to include a Wednesday on that too.